I would like to say, in the interest of equity, I want to emphasize that I was not exactly facing this problem alone, but rather with many Malawian colleagues who allowed me to live and work there and whom I learned a great deal from. So I do think it's really important that we try to move beyond this default narrative of people from high income countries always coming to the rescue of people from low income countries. Um, but second, thank you for referencing our recently published NCI Center for Global Health strategic plan, in which, as you note, we very clearly articulate equity as a core value. This is something that we're thinking about quite a lot at the National Cancer Institute as a whole. And for us at the Center for Global Health, this really reflects our belief that all people should benefit from cancer research and that studying cancer anywhere should benefit people everywhere. So by articulating equity very intentionally as a core value, we also hope we can promote NCI engagement in global cancer research as a peer and a partner, to listen and learn from colleagues and collaborators around the world. We think that such an approach is necessary, perhaps now more than ever, to realize the many scientific opportunities that are afforded by global cancer research, and also to address many of the historical inequities in the way global health research has often been conducted. So we've chosen to focus on research areas where we believe there are important opportunities to develop programs with high impact. So more specifically, this involves targeting areas where there are key scientific gaps in global cancer control and potential for unique or catalytic NCI contributions as the largest funder of cancer research in the world. One of the things we're often able to do as NCI is to stimulate growth of a new area and coalescing a community around a specific topic. So for us, many of the areas that we're thinking about now are articulated in the strategic plan that I just mentioned, but to delineate them quickly now, we're interested in accelerating innovative, effective, and deployable technologies for global cancer control and have a number of programs focused on that. We're interested in accelerating global cancer implementation science, and again, have a number of programs either already established or in development focused on that. We are very interested in understanding and addressing the multiple determinants of global cancer health disparities. We'd like to increase support for cancer clinical trials in LMICs, and then continue to increase our understanding of cancer etiology and biology through global collaboration. That is a great question. And I think we must first acknowledge that just how critical clinical trials have been in advancing progress against cancer. As you will know, and I think this is likely true in Italy as well, for us in the US, much of NCI's work domestically in the United States involves supporting cancer clinical trials that change clinical practice, extending cancer clinical trials to low and middle income countries, which are vastly underrepresented in the worldwide clinical trial portfolio currently, can help create more equity in trial participation, as well as more generalizable evidence for interventions in diverse populations, health systems, and geographic settings. Such trials can also evaluate lower cost, lower intensity interventions in settings where standard approaches from high income countries are not well established or may not be practical, and can also accelerate progress for cancers that are rare in the United States but common in other parts of the world. As just one illustration, you mentioned our recently published paper, which describes the first clinical trial of rituximab for diffuse large B-cell lymphoma focused on sub-Saharan African populations, and the first clinical trial really for adults with lymphoma in this region since HIV treatment became widely available. This is important to note given that lymphoma is so frequently HIV associated in East and Southern Africa. So we enrolled patients with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma who had very adverse disease characteristics. No patients were lost to follow-up, even though many of them lived in rural areas and traveled great distances to participate in our trial. And overall survival at 24 months, which is really a proxy for cure, was 55% under routine programmatic conditions, which is among the best reported outcomes to date for this population in sub-Saharan Africa, and is approaching, although not equivalent to outcomes for comparable patient populations in the United States. So, of course, I feel such demonstrations are not only possible, getting back to your original question, but also actually important and far too scarce currently. However, such trials clearly require local capacity building, equitable collaboration, and strong community engagement to be successful.